beautiful people. Welcome to another episode on Tane Talks. I am your host, Tane, here to talk about this week's reality show, Ramble, where I talk about all the shows I'm watching, scripted, reality, books I'm reading, and just kind of have a little conversation with you guys, except I'm the only one talking. Congratulations to the Knicks. Yay, they finally got their championship. It's been so exciting watching everything, and I'm happy for everyone that is a Knicks fan. Knicks in five indeed. So also happy World Cup season to everyone who celebrates. It seems like it's being hosted by, United States, one of the hosts, and a lot of people don't seem to know that that's happening. But it's exciting, and gets to see who's going to make it this year. Nigeria didn't make the playoffs. We're a big soccer country, but again, it'll be interesting to see who takes it this year because there are a bunch of contenders over there. Okay, what am I watching this week? I can't remember if I told you guys last week, but I did finally start watching The Pit. I usually wait for the end of the season and then I start binging it, but it's taking a little longer this year because there's so much to catch up on and work is taking a lot of my life and I travel for work. So I am making my way down and it's still as good as I remember it to be. So did you guys watch it? Let me know what you think about it. I told you last time that I was reading Strangers by Belle Burden. I am done with it. It was very compelling. It's a true life story of a woman whose husband was cheating on her, and she found out, a few days into pandemic. They were at their home, and she gets a text from the husband of the woman her husband was cheating with, saying that, I don't know if you know, but our spouses are cheating with each other. And it's just a breakdown of everything, and it's fascinating because we never find out why he was cheating, why he decides to leave the family. And it's just her telling her story. And even fascinating is all the ties that she had family wise. Like, she comes from a big name um families. So if you know Truman Capote, her grandma was one of the Swans, which if you watch the show on FX with Ryan Murphy, Naomi Watts, I believe, played her grandma. So there's a lot of story in there, and it was an easy read, I think I'll say, for that. Kate Casey had an episode breaking this down, which was quite fascinating, and she got the perspective of a friend who also has a trust fund, and she asked the question, does having money replace the pain? Which is funny because I asked my friend that question and she's like, yes, absolutely. I don't think I agree. Like, there's still pain that trickles down. The kids are involved. But either way, all I'm saying is, like, I do recommend the book, especially because it's a quick and easy read. You might get frustrated with some of the choices, but we live and we learn. So right now, I am currently reading an advanced copy of Imbola Mbu's book, Every Story is a Love Story. I am excited and nervous about this one because the first book of Imbola that I read was Behold the Dreamers a couple of years ago. You guys, I loved this book so much. I'm very stingy with my 5 stars, but she got a 5 stars instantly. But then her sophomore book, How Beautiful We Were, it was still well written, but I didn't love it as much as I love Behold the Dreamers. Or maybe I just, I love Behold the Dreamers so much that nothing could ever top it. And that's what it was. I don't know. So I'm curious to see where this one lies. If you don't know this about me, if I've never mentioned, I go into books blind. I do not know what the books are about. I just go in waiting to be surprised and watch it unfold. And I have no idea what this book is about, but so far with what I have read, it's about a woman who was, in an accident. She was hit by a car in an accident, loses her life, and the person who hit her has just sent a letter to the husband of the woman who died, apologizing and asking for a chance to speak to them. And currently, I literally just started. He is mulling over whether to open the letter or not. So far, so good. So that's what I'm reading. You guys, if you ever want to share what you're reading, if you want recommendations, if you want to recommend books for me, please feel free anywhere you want to, any of the socials, Tane Talks, and send me an email, tanetalks@gmail.com. Always happy to talk TV, movies, or books. Patrons, just a little announcement for you guys. I am going to put up a step by step if you would like to listen to bonus episodes through your podcast apps. Shout out to Elisa for bringing this to my attention. I think I had, in the transition, I had missed something. And if you usually listen to your podcast app and it's not working, please let me know. But I will put up a post in the Patreon so that if you would like to do that, instead of going back and forth listening on the Patreon app, you can just listen to the whatever app you listen to your podcast on. I will put up a post with a step by step. Once again, shout out to Elisa for letting me know and for letting me know the steps as well. Okay, what am I talking about this week? I'm talking about Love Island. Of course, I have to. I'm talking about Top Chef, talking about Below Deck Med, Southern Hospitality, and The Valley. I almost feel like I have to talk about Love Island. I really wish that I could cover Love Island, but guys, it is a lot. It is almost every day except Wednesdays. On Saturdays is After Sun, which I never used to watch, but I watched it for the first time because Sierra was on there, and Sierra and Teffy are the new hosts of After Sun. The whole format is great. So now that's yet another day that I have to add to my life. So I don't know any time that I can talk about it, I will. But I'm so sorry I'm not covering it because it is just a lot. I'm also watching Love Island UK, and it's just so much to cover. But it will feature a lot in reality show Ramble. If you want to hear my thoughts, I was a guest on I Can Nut with Kendrick Tucker. Go check that out. And we talked all things Love Island UK and USA. So check that out. And also, Raven on Bitches Better has daily coverage of Love Island USA. So if you're looking for that, also check that out. So, like I mentioned, I watched After Sun. We had our first casualties, which were Bea and Sean, and they were great. They were the good guests to have for the first episode. And, you know, just talking about it, who knew that Sean was down bad for Anaya? I kind of side at him a little because you're all Anaya, but you never pulled her aside. And instead, you decided to play a game and were out there faking with Kenzie, which I was mad about. They did not ask any question about Kenzie. Like, was that a fever dream? Like, what was going on there? Instead of you to shoot your shot, which is the one of the critiques that I have for the season so far. Everyone wants to have a day one locked in. We won. We've been together, and everything is just solid. And it's not cool, and it's not sustainable. Also, so, but like I was saying, the islanders that are dumped, they get to see their phones, they get to talk to family, they get to let them know what's going on. Like Bea's friends are telling her, everyone seems to think that you're a stud. And, everyone talked about the conversation with Melanie or with Sean, finding out what the mayor was saying, talking to his sister. So it's kind of cool because they come in with perspective and they get to be honest. It's not like they don't know what's going on. And we get some information from being inside the house. I am sad Bea left, but guys, someone had to go. And there is just going to be more. We are not going to be with these people, forever. And I know we like to keep the OGs, but, it's not realistic. It is a little unfair that Corbin had the upper hand. It's just, it gets annoying when the men seem to have more opportunities to stay in some way. Just let people couple up. I know it's messy. I understand it brings the drama, but what if we just do it that way? And then we see, what happens? Because Bea did not stand a chance. Once they did this, Bea did not stand a chance. And also, those of us who voted, we did not know how they were going to play it out. I mean, I give them kudos for the creative ways in which they dump people. But like Bea said on After Sun, as long as it wasn't what her fellow islanders voting her out, she's cool with the way that it turned out. Okay, a little bit about some of the islanders. The Soul, Insincere, Melanie situation. My dream best case scenario right now is that Mel truly stands on business and is done with Insincere and seriously focuses on Corbin. And then a bombshell comes in for Soul. So that way Insincere is left alone and then he has to face himself and just fix whatever is wrong with him and these lies that he seems to be lying. I think what makes it so weird is Insincere does not know that he's lying. He truly believes that he's being honest, and perception is reality. He truly, truly believes, he has no idea. He feels that when he's in the confessional and he's saying things, that he's saying the truth. He does not realize that he's lying, and that's the scary part. How do you fix something that you don't know that you are doing? But we're watching it. We see him lying. He's telling her that no, like Soul is the one who reached out for a kiss. No, I don't want to be with her. Then you're telling Melanie, like, I have no interest in getting to know her. But then you're saying like, oh, she's such a breath of fresh air and Soul is just everything. And then you pie her and you're with everyone when you decide to pie her um in that game. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, like I said, that is my dream situation because I don't know what's wrong with that man and his lies. But I'm realistic. So I know that Mel is not going to leave him. They are down for that toxic love. So that's is what is going to happen. So we'll see. It's just insane also that Mel and Soul have not had a conversation to compare notes. I just like usually it's like let's chat. What did he say? What did then three of them have a conversation and it becomes a thing? But it's almost like Mel doesn't want to pull Soul because maybe she doesn't want to hear the truth because she knows. Like her intuition is screaming out loud to her and everything, and she's ignoring it because she, like Sierra said on After Sun, the girls are so scared to lose the men that they're not putting themselves first and doing what they need to do to have the best case scenario in the end. There's a lot of talk, online, and you just got to take it with a grain of salt. But people accusing Soul of stepping on toes and going after someone who had a man. What do you think a bombshell does? That's what a bombshell does. They come in and they talk to people because they came in late, and people naturally are coupled up because it's the format of the game. And she was giving back to someone who was entertaining her. So what are we talking about? Like, especially this season where everyone claims to be open, but they are locked off and nothing is happening. So we need to shake things up. Everyone, like I said, is trying to be a day one winner, and we don't have time for that. I just this pie challenge, of course I know we cannot see everything that happens on there. I mean, they're editing this editing for a reason, but you can just see that the light is out of Soul's eyes. Like in the very beginning she didn't care, she was bombshelling hard. Like I even said, like, I give props to Soul. Like she don't give a fuck, like she's just doing what she needs to do. But I don't know what it is that we're not seeing, but definitely the light is dimmed out of her. People are saying like she was weak and is not built for this, but she's a human being. And I just feel like we haven't seen her have conversations with anyone, with any of the other girls. And I do feel like Bea, if Bea, they hadn't given us that confessional where Bea says like, some of those pies should have gone to Mel, and it's very obvious that she's just a scapegoat and you just keep pieing her. Like, I mean, she was fine up until like the last one where it's like, okay, guys, you don't know anything about me, but you're saying that I'm gonna ghost them. Like there was literally someone else who in a challenge said like, oh, I ghosted a guy, which was Mel. So why didn't you just give it to her and then say, oh, well, you ghosted a guy before, so we're just going based on that. But she had a good point. So that is saying that if you guys don't get to know me, you guys don't talk to me, you don't know anything about me, how are you picking me for all of this when you don't know anything about me? That doesn't make sense. And then even worse, on the flip side, the only person who knows anything about me is insincere. And then you're not fighting for me. You're still saying, oh yeah, let's go ahead with her. That's insane. Like that man made two breakfasts. We forget that Melanie still doesn't know that he made two breakfasts and he thought that was fine. I think it was even Caleb, who I like, by the way. He's 21 years old, but he has a good head on his shoulders. Is like, yeah, that's doing too much. Oh, was it Bryce? Maybe it was Bryce, but I still like Caleb. Sentiment still stands. Um, we saw no convo again. She cried, she wasn't feeling well, and I don't see, or we didn't see any of the girls going to check on her. Mel wanted to be like, okay, it's not fair. I don't want someone to be picked on. But Insincere is like, oh, what? You don't need to. You don't have to. And I'm like, why are we just doing everything the guys tell us to do? Do what you need to do and what you want to do. I don't believe Kenzie's offer, like, if you have a friend, I don't want you to feel alone. It feels very producer driven, kind of like Bryce trying to pull Kata. But because even after that happened, you said you wanted to be her friend. Well, did you go talk to her? So I don't know. Trinity and Bryce. I don't know what to do with these two. I don't know whether they like each other. If I had to pick, I think that they do. I think they don't know what to do with the fact that they came in here and fell for people that were completely opposites of what they normally would, but they are intrigued by each other. But they are the people who are doing Love Island right. They have gone out to explore, they have come back together, they're having the conversations, they're not getting mad. It's just in the way that you do it. I understand her being mad at pulling Kata. Why are you pulling my best friend and why are you pulling your best friend's girl? It's just so odd. She already turned you down. So there's not even a chance. So what is the point of doing that. So if Trinity being mad about that, I get it. But they're doing it right. I just think like they're just two opposite people that didn't expect to fall for each other, that they don't know what to do with it and they don't trust it. So they keep feeling like, okay, someone else is gonna come that is more suitable. But in the meantime, what do I do with this? My feelings are growing. I love that Trinity mentioned race. Like, I don't want it to feel like you're with me and then your type, not your kind. Oh my God, for and sleep. Your type comes in and a brunette comes in and, it feels like you're just waiting for that. I think what she said is a brunette comes in and you're waiting for that person and then you go for that person. I mean, what she means is a white person, but I can believe that, they kept that conversation, but good on them for keeping that conversation because it is so real. So it's two of them just fumbling. Maybe he feels the same way that she wants to be with a black man. I don't know. But I think that's what it is, that both of them just didn't expect to like each other because they had a specific kind or type in their mind. And now they don't know what to do. But who knows? It might work out. I will say everyone's saying, oh, they want to be the next Nicolandra. I'm not getting that. I'm very like pessimistic usually, and I don't trust, reality TV, but I'm not getting that they're purposely trying to be the next Nicolandra. That is not even gonna work anyways. So that would be the wrong uh route to take. So we'll see what happens with them. I just love me some Kata. I mean, face card never declined. I just like the way she stands up for herself. And she seems to like Zach. And Zach seems like a dick, but could it be the Brit in him? I don't know. We've seen many a Brit reality star, and they're like, you just don't get my humor. So I don't know what's going on. But I do think that Bryce pulling her for a chat might make him realize that he likes Kata more than he wants to admit. But it all depends. All we need right now, we need bombshells that are these people's types so that heads can start turning. Before we even get to Casa, we just need this because this lockdown that we're in is not going to make for riveting TV, and they need to do something to shake things up. Like, have a team meeting and talk to these people and let them know that you guys, you're not making good TV. America doesn't like this, and you just need to start moving things around while still exploring your connection. Someone needs to read the rules. There's money at the end, so technically, this show is a game show. Well, a competitive show. So, follow the rules, guys. Read the rules to them and let them know what they need to do. Casey and Anaya are really cute. People are rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. Casey is so fine, and I think he's underrated. Anaya is so fine. Body T, like everything's great. But I still kind of feel like they're stuck together. I do like them together. I do wish he did explore soul. I do think he wanted to explore soul, but I do, this may sound harsh, feel like Anaya guilted him into not exploring. You can't talk about being open and it's like, oh, I feel this way. I don't feel reassured. We were at the time on week 1. Are we on 1 or 2? But I think week 1. And, you know, the weak spots for all the guys is that they are obsessed with looking like good guys. No one wants to be the guy that turns. No one wants to explore. And I think that's what made him stick. Do I think he likes Anaya? Yes, absolutely. I think he does. But I think, when Bryce mentioned, like, you have to explore, or was it Zach? You have to go around and then see, and then maybe you realize, okay, what I have with this person is stronger. But I did explore with this person. You're not wondering, like, what if, oh, do I have this or not? That is the right way to go. You kind of just have to go through your emotions, let it out, feel it out, and but still, also get it in check. But you guys have got to explore. I almost feel like they should have a plane flying over the villa with the sign saying explore, guys. Kenzie's in her own world where facts don't matter. Kenzie is like, she has a roster. She's not feeling the way that she felt anymore because she was just like, what? Why are people not falling for me? What is happening? And she's mad that Corbin asked for a kiss, but she's kissing Caleb. I'm so confused as to what's happening. But bring on the mess. I am enjoying USA. I am enjoying the show so much. I'm enjoying UK, but if I had to pick, I am enjoying the USA more. Let me know your Love Island thoughts. Are you watching? What are you thinking? Which couples are you rooting for? I would love to hear it all. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be back with Top Chef.
Losing weight is one thing, but keeping it off, that's where it gets really frustrating. That's why Weight Loss by Hers now offers access to the FDA approved Wegovy pill and the FDA approved Wegovy pen. Wegovy is designed to help you lose weight and keep it off. And it doesn't stop there. Weight Loss by Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/alter to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's forhers.com/altar. Forhers.com/alter. Weight Loss by Hers is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is a registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restriction, visit forhers.com.
And I'm back. We have a winner. Guys, if you don't want to hear the winner, skip, skip, skip. The winner is Rhoda. And I feel so good because I feel like I've been making predictions that have not been coming true. But if you listen to the last time I talked about Top Chef on reality show Ramble, I was like, I cannot shake the feeling that Rhoda is going to have a Kristen moment and she's going to be come back from Last Chance Kitchen and she's going to take it all. And I feel so vindicated and happy that that is exactly what happened, even though I thought that is not what was going to happen. But yeah, we have a winner. It is Rhoda, and it's exciting. It's exciting. We have a woman winner. It's been a minute since we had one, so yay her. Going back to the final episode, I was just thinking about the eliminated chefs who have to come back and be sous chefs for the finalists. I'm like, that has to be tough, right? Like you were so close and you just didn't make it and you have to come back and help. And also, is there compensation for that, for doing all of that, you know? And I wasn't sure, when Seeger came back, are Seeger and Rhoda just friends? Or am I sensing something? Like they had that rapport as friends, but I think there was one quick scene, if you didn't blink if you miss or you miss it, where Seeger just kind of like puckered up and just kissed in the air towards her direction. But I was like, oh. But if there were, I guess producers, they're always messy. They would have asked a question in the confessionals like, are you guys just friends or do you think she's cool? Is she someone you would date? Something to that effect. But we didn't get any of that. So I don't know. I don't know. But I thought I saw something, but it could be wishful thinking. Wait, do we want Rhoda with Seeger though after that? But I don't want to define that man by his big mistake. We have moments and it's a heightened environment. But they had the former finalists as mentors. I thought that was pretty cool. I was very scared for Rhoda not having a dessert. That was a pretty damn bold move. But she stuck to her guns and she felt pretty convicted about it. And I mean, it worked out in the end. If it didn't, we might have said that was a mistake, but it did. But at the time, we didn't know that it was going to work out. So good for her. I think the challenge was they just had to make four progressive meals that was a toast to important moments in their life, important moments or people in their life. So they had a family dinner for their final meal where Tom, Gail, Kristen comes over and Tom is cooking for them. And it was just very sweet because they came out with dishes. And as the dishes were coming out, people were recognizing it like, oh, this is something I eat, very specific. Like, how would Tom know how to make it? And it turned out that it was their family members who made the dishes and they came out one by one. And, Lawrence's wife came out. Rhoda's sister was there, and Sherry's sister also came out, and they made each of the dishes. And I just kept wondering, what if they couldn't cook? Like what would have been the plan if one of the people, all of the people couldn't cook? Would they just have catered it or what? I guess they would have rerouted. But pretty cool that they all could cook and they all brought dishes that meant something to them. Like, I fancy myself like a decent cook when it comes to Nigerian food. I feel like I can make the food, but I still get nervous when people eat my food. So I can't imagine if it was nerve-wracking for them to eat, their food on national television or, maybe just a me thing. And they are just so confident. And I was like, yeah, there's no way it's going to be not great. But on the flip side, what if it is not great? How do Gail, Tom, and Kristen react to that? I mean, thank God it was. It seemed those potatoes were bomb. But what if it isn't? What do they do? Basically, all I'm saying with that, with my anxious mind, all I was thinking was like, that seems like just everything just seems like a very risky move to do all in all. But it worked out fine and it was great. Also, Kristen looked really great. Um, By the time we did all the meals, we had all the meals presented and we had the judges and they ate all the meals. The way it looked like the critiques by the time we got to judges table felt like it was leaning towards a Sherry win, because it was very clear, like going into this, right, it felt like this was Lawrence's to lose. He'd had a pretty damn good season up until towards the end, but by the judges table it was very clear that Lawrence was not winning this. And when Rhoda was announced, I started screaming. And it's, they do this thing where they try to throw you off scent as to who's going to win. And the way it was in the confessionals, like really just pointing out the flaws in Rhoda, it kind of felt like he was leaning towards her. So I know people are saying that maybe she didn't deserve it, but a lot of it is editing, We don't know what the full thing is, how they were. We've seen some of the judges, Tom has been on there saying, like, they tasted the food and it was there. And they did say that Rhoda is the one person who consistently and cooked all the proteins best. But if we're going straight just by the editing, I still kind of feel like based on just the finale episode, it felt like it was a Sherry win. Based on overall cook throughout, like the wins and all that, it felt like it would have been a Lawrence win. But honestly, I like Rhoda, and it felt like Rhoda made a bold move. She cooked her stuff well. And to be honest, I would have been happy with any of them winning. I think that's how good the finalists were. Like if they had announced any of them as the winner, I would have just been happy. It just also felt like, what is the word? I don't, is it underwhelming? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, last season when Tristan won, it didn't feel the same. When Tristan won, it felt like he was such a clear winner. It felt so exciting. And it was just like, oh my God, Tristan won. But, when they announced Rhoda, it just felt like, what's the best way for those of you who watch Survivor? It feels like there's an asterisk besides Rhoda's name, even though there shouldn't be. Think of like when, let's say, Gabler won or Michelle won, and it's kind of like, even as recent as Aubrey, where some people feel like, oh, she shouldn't have won. I think maybe that's the feeling. Like there's just like a cloud, even though there should not be. Anyone who wins a show, unless it's like Project Runway or something where it's obvious that someone else should have won, is the deserved winner of the show. And the way people are speaking, you would think that Rhoda was like a shit cook, but she wasn't. I think that's the thing. So I just don't understand. Maybe it's the fact that she was eliminated and came back, but if that's the case, then maybe you haven't watched other seasons, and then you should be mad at Kristen. We would never have had Kristen if that was the case. So I don't know. I'm happy with it. I just feel like maybe the asterisk was her name, or maybe the way people's reaction kind of made it seem like, oh, but I'm still happy for her. She's a winner and she's a good cook. And it was a good season. I liked the season. It went by pretty fast. And looking forward to next season. And I wonder where they're going to go. Let me know, who are you rooting for? Who did you think should win? And what do you think about Rhoda being winner? Let me know. Okay, let's talk about Below Deck Med. I am surprised that we're having another below deck med when we haven't had a regular med. I'm just accepting that Sailing Yacht is done and dusted and that's not going to come back. We just had Down Under. But where's regular below deck? Like, is that done too? Like, I don't know. But, they started the season with Nate and Gail. I think they're not together in real time anymore, because every time she posts a picture, it's just her and her son. I don't see her with Nate. Somebody let me know if you do know the answer to that. But it's pretty cool that they were able to have a rental close by, and I wonder if she'll be integrated into the storyline this season, because they're around. And how is it gonna have time, like when they go out to have fun? Is he just instead gonna go out and go hang out with the kids? But we'll see. They are in Croatia this time. Asia is back. The chef is Joy. She has cooked for a lot of celebrities. She is French. She is new to the franchise. We've never seen her before. She does tell us that she is intense. I believe her, because at some point, I can't. Someone asked her, "Are you nervous?" And she's like, "No." And they're like, "What? We are not." And she's like, "No, I've been to hell and back." So we'll see what she brings. I wonder why she doesn't get a sous chef. Maybe the boat is smaller or something, but we'll see how that goes. Like I said, Asia's back, Joe is back, Nathan is back. Guys, Joe is a dick. Baseline, no arguments there. He doesn't treat women right, and he just always makes the wrong decision. Also, Men should call out other men. Nathan did the right thing, called him out in his bad behavior and all that. But I gotta tell you, I do not understand this reaction to Joe. They were best buddies. They were friends. They were very, very cool. Like, they were close. Yes, he made a mistake. I don't understand this big reaction. I can understand distancing yourself, but Joe's called him. He's not picking up. You don't want to talk to him. Did something more happen? I don't know if I'm reading this right. Like, again, he has a right to be mad. He has a right to feel that way. But have they even had a conversation? I think they have not had a conversation, and Joe has no idea what he has done that is so terrible. So I don't think the reaction is matching what is happening, and I don't know where Nathan comes out being like this holier than thou guy. So I hope they resolve it because this doesn't make any sense. Now they have to work together, and he's already thinking about not making him the lead deck because he doesn't trust him. Why don't you trust him? Again, did something else happen, or is it just how he treated women? Does that affect you? I'm confused. Why did it hire green deckhands? Okay, that's a silly question. It's for the drama, but they're the ones who's going to suffer for it because then they're going to have to like get new people or fire someone and then be stuck during a charter. But I don't know. Is this the best place for a deckhand to learn all the things that they need to learn? Also, is South Carolina the new recruiting ground for reality TV? Like, Miami is the base, but it seems like we're getting a lot of people from South Carolina. We have Lucas and we have someone else who's on the deckhand. They are stacked. They are like 6 foot whatever, and it looks like they're gonna have to be bending over while they go through the boats. They already have that first mishap on the boat because when they're trying to dock and the boat hit the dock, I gasped. I gasped because there was so much noise on there, and I don't. Nathan needs to believe in himself. Like, you are the bosun. I just by at this time you should be sure, you should know what to do. And hitting the dock was just kind of crazy. So I mean, I understand him feeling bad. Captain Sandy is like, get over it, but that's pretty. I would beat myself up for something like that. Maybe Nate is right to not trust Joe because Joe is like, if it was me, that would never happen. So I just want to prove myself. I just want to go up the ranks. I just know maybe Nate knows something about Joe that we don't know, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I do want to say that it's pretty cool that Asia, being a former deckhand before and helping out, is pretty damn cool. Asia is pretty cool. She is very too bubbly for my liking, but she's a pretty cool. They always ask the question, who is the best chief stew? And they go Hannah, they go Kate, they go Asia. Honestly, I don't remember Hannah and Kate because I remember more of their attitude than anything. Oh, and Daisy. But I feel like if I had to pick, I'd say Asia, to be honest with you. If she's in the game. I don't remember Hannah and Kate. I remember Hannah being checked out. I remember Kate just feeling like also the same thing. I think the thing with Hannah and Kate is even if they were good at their jobs, they just seemed over it all the time. I have to rewatch maybe like all the earlier seasons to kind of see what they were like. But for right now, I still think like Daisy has a long way to go with being a lead because she's just always whining all the time. She has the skills, she knows what to do, but she's just always whining about one thing about the other. So I think I'll pick Asia. Who would you pick? Who would you say is the best chief stew among all the ones that we've seen? Definitely the worst is what was her name? The British one who kept crying and who had a problem with Serena. That's the worst, without question. Okay. The girls are fighting. It's one-sided though. But Jen, this, this Stu, who has a one-sided beef with Kaylee, that's insane. It hasn't even started, and she's already feeling like insecure is the best way to put it. But it looks like we're gonna have a good season. They always know how to put the team together. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll see what happens and which romances happen, and if girls are still going to give Joe a chance. I can't imagine watching Joe and still giving him a chance when you come in here, but we shall see. All right, I will take a break and I'll be right back to talk Southern Hospitality. Okay, Southern Hospitality ended their two-part reunion, and thank God it was just two parts. This is just one to the left, one to the right, a bunch of immature people. I don't understand Lake and Michaels. I do not understand them. I cannot explain them. I cannot make an excuse. I thought Lake saw the error of her ways and was apologizing, but she came on here and was like, screw that. She came on here sitting with an iPad in her hand, and I'm like, why does she have an iPad? Eventually, the moment came. It was to show text messages for Jordan or to speak for Jordan, and it just fell flat. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, she's been like fighting for Jordan all season. That's apparently the reason that she's mad at Mia. But I guess when she sees that it doesn't make any sense, now she's mad that Mia was talking to her ex. I believe Mia. Like Mia's like she said, what do I care about a 20-year-old? What am I going to do with this man? You told me to go in there. You did admit that Lake was really drunk. So maybe she didn't remember what happened. And I like when she said I apologized and she's like, no, you didn't. And she's like, roll the tape. And they did. She did apologize. So what is your beef with Mia? You just hate that we like her. There is nothing you're going to do that's going to bring that down. And even if you wanted us to hate her, this is not what you're going to do that. I don't accept your apology. And then Michael's like, ooh, ooh. I'm like, gosh, this is when you're reminded that these kids are like, what is it, 22, 23, and just have a lot of life left to live to just grow up. Um, Maddie and Joe, I don't know what is happening. This is yet another reunion where we're getting emotional about Trevor. What, Maddie hates Mia too now? Uh, I don't know what's happening. I just, Maddie and Joe every year keep going, keep going. I don't know what the end game is going to be for them, but I don't know how Joe watches this every year and still doesn't feel some type of way about how Maddie feels about him. I don't know. We got to see this. Emmy is feet is held to the fire about how she behaved all season. She does the usual apology. I didn't know this. I had to know. Lake and Michaels educated me on microaggressions. Why are you educating? Like, why are you friends with Emmy? This makes no sense. Anyways, like, guys, I'm not saying like there's not gonna be conflicts, but this went beyond conflict. This went into dangerous territory. This went with Emmy telling everyone and anyone who would listen, going to the front desk, literally knowing how it is to be a black man in Charleston or in America, putting him in danger. It just didn't end up really bad. I know people would think like, oh, we're exaggerating. We are not. It is not an exaggeration. This could have gone left really quickly. And the fact that Will told her to go talk to Lucia because Lucia is black, and then she went there and turned the whole story. It is very sinister, guys. This is disgusting. Like, you, what she did with Brad is not cool at all. I don't care how much she apologizes. And I love, love, love how Brad responded to her apology. Like, you don't get to cry and say sorry just because you got backlash and I'm supposed to be like, oh, you're fine, it's okay, and then make you feel better. No, I'm not going to accept it. You do what you want to do, but I'm not going to do that. And I really, really like that. Even she mentioning, because she does that thing, because she's crying also and saying that, oh, Will likes to say that she's an emotional terrorist. And basically, what I understood from that is like saying, like, people when you're arguing or you're trying to have an actual conversation and then you start crying, then it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Because now you've hijacked the conversation and it's like, oh, I'm making you cry and feel bad. So that's what I understood that to mean. But it's like, yes, don't do it again. Don't say, no, I'm not going to cry. Just don't cry. Don't tell us that you don't want to cry. And I'm glad this is being put to rest. I'm glad that, Brad is responding in his own way. And I'm glad that he said, like, you don't know the emotional handcuffs that I was in. Like, she's never going to understand what he went through because even then, he handles this really, really well. And he explained why he had to record it because he didn't get anything out of it, but he had to because I'm scared of, she's saying that she's scared of what he's going to do, but he's scared of what she's going to do and what she's going to say. And she did exactly that. She turned the story around and said different things. And quite frankly, I don't think Andy asked her the hard questions to ask, like, what were you trying to get out of it? And they should have played a montage of her saying different stories, really, you know? Andy did ask, like, like she didn't say Will. She always used to say my fiance, my fiance. And there was a point where she was like, he's not a part of the show. I don't want to talk about him. And Andy just turned around to TJ. I was like, okay, what have you heard about him cheating on other people? Almost like she didn't exist. So that was funny. I don't know. The whole thing was not enjoyable to watch. it just, I couldn't wait for it to end because there's just a lot of buzzwords being thrown around and people not realizing that they're not being held accountable and just screaming, shouting, and giving what they thought was giving and it wasn't. So it was just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the next season. I mean, they have to come back. They have a lot of buzz. Maybe um they get drowned out by the other Bravo shows, but there's a lot more white people on the show that I didn't expect them to be on pause. So I expect to have another season, and it'll be interesting to see how that season goes. And I hope like Michaels and Lake take a look at themselves. When they asked Lake, what her mom feels about Emmy, and she's like, "Oh, she loves Emmy. They're fine." Like, in fact, she doesn't think Will cheated on her. What has that got to do with anything? And also, if her mom really thinks that Will didn't cheat on her, then please don't make your mom look bad. Don't share that with everybody because that's insane. That's a whole other thing. So, anyway, that's done. And that's it. I don't have a whole lot to say because I'm not going to lie. I don't think that I really enjoyed the reunion. I just wanted it to be over and done with. Okay. Final, the Valley. I still like the show, guys. These are people that are truly living their lives as messy as it is. They're not trying to drive a story. There's so many other shows out there where people are trying to drive a story, but everyone is living out their lives, whether or not they look stupid, like Brittany paying her boyfriend to come take care of her, and he still didn't show up. And he used the money she gave to buy her flowers while she had elective surgery to reduce the boobs from the ex husband who tried to own her. Hope you caught up with all of that. But either way, they're driving in the story and they're being honest in front of the cameras. I need Jasmine to stop saying that Zach is her best friend because maybe he is her best friend, but I don't think she is his best friend. There were just so many instances in the last maybe 2 or 3 episodes where it doesn't seem like he's standing up for her. Kristen, and Luke are obsessed or under the bedazzle of Nia and Danny, and that seems to be the focus when he had his very, very sad and sorry housewarming party. They should have canceled that. He gave his speech about those who have helped him, who have been there for him, and he called up Kristen. He did not mention Jasmine or say anything. I think he mentioned Brittany. And I'm just like, what are we doing? When they met up and she was asking him to be in her wedding and was just expressing some of the stresses that they're going through, somehow in between, maybe he's editing, the conversation got turned around. And then we started talking about him and what he's going through with Benji instead and how he's stressed. And she's just trying to talk. And it's just, I'm feeling for Jasmine a lot because there was that scene where Lala was expressing the whole thing with Darkside Danny, and she was trying to talking, and it honestly felt like they couldn't see her. It felt like she was Casper the Ghost. No one could see her. She was trying to interject, and everyone's just like, okay, talking over her, and I'm just, ugh. And then she cried in the confessional, like, I don't want to think that about my friends. But it's like, are they listening to Lala because she's white? Like, I don't know. I don't want to feel that, but I'm kind of feeling that. But so I'm just like, just keep it on the side. And until he says that you're his best friend, you're his best friend, just maybe we just keep it on the low. But looks like she got married. Zach was in the wedding party. Sheena was on there too, and Brittany were on her party. So yeah, all is well. Maybe it's just a show. Um, Jesse trying to sick whatever this is on Britney is insane. I know they want to defend Danny. The thing is, and in one scene, Jesse did admit that, listen, we all drink, we all do bad things, but like his behavior, because I think Lacey was trying to say, I've never seen it or whatever, but Jesse's like, no, it is there. Like when he becomes Dark Side Danny, like it is bad. I am no fan of Britney. But there's something so sinister about talking to other men. He was talking to Schwartz and Danny and saying, we're not going to have this anymore. We're not going to do this. Like she was part of the takedown with Jax. And then Schwartz goes to the confessional and is like, listen, I don't think Brittany was thinking about this. I mean, I don't know that 100%. These people have decided that Brittany can do no wrong. But what he said in the confessional, part of what he said made sense, where it's just like, listen, she takes the wrath of Jax all the time, that she was probably just grateful. Like, listen, if he's focused on Danny, then that's what it's going to be. And she's just going to go along with it because at least the focus is not on her and she can focus on her child. Why do men not like to speak up in front of other men? Like, speak up in front of them and say that. Instead, he did the Schwartz thing. It was like, yeah, yeah, that was really annoying to watch. If Danny was in my friend group, he would annoy the crap out of me. He just fancies himself like this funny, great guy, but he's so performative and everything is so loud and obnoxious. And this is without alcohol. So I would not mess with him. Um, Lala did mention this as well, that Danny and Nia are focused on the appearance and how things come off and how things look, which leads me to the meal train for Brittany, which was started by Nia. Unprompted, nobody asked her to do it. She says, I'm starting a meal train, sign up for it. But then she didn't follow through and says that, oh, she's trying to survive. Start something if you know you're already drowning. You tell us time without number. We see it all the time that you're drowning. Nobody told you to do this, but this is another thing that makes you feel like, oh, I'm a good friend. Oh, I'm going to do this. But if you don't have the capacity, why are you doing it? Why not just mention it to someone? And if you're not going to follow through, at least call and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. And I think someone even sent money and she still hadn't even sent the money. You're trying to survive over here, as we hear all the time, 4 on the 4. So why do this? I don't know how I feel about the not including Janet. They're not friends. Like they just aren't. If she's trying to do something nice, then go all the way. Yes, she could have just included her in the text chain or tell someone, hey, I'm not speaking to Janet, but feel free to include her. She could have done that. Her friends did tell her because I think people were like, her friends should have told her, but they must have told her because how else would she have gotten that spaghetti in a Ziploc thing coming over? So, yeah, she could have done something about it. She chose not to, but we have to make it a big deal because it is a reality show, which is why what Jasmine said is right. Jasmine said, like, the good Christian thing to do because you can't pick and choose when you want to be Christian. The biggest um, rule is love thy neighbor as thyself. So do the kind thing, do the Christian thing, even though you're not speaking. Just include Janet because it's not a conversation with her, but she's one of Brittany's closest friends and she lives close to her and just include her. So for Danny to get all hyphy about the fact that she's like the good Christian thing, oh, don't bring my faith into it and all that, that is exactly what she meant. Don't be a Christian by name, do it by action and don't get mad. So these people. Brittany needs to go to rehab for her men picker because this is terrible. You cannot go from Jax to Brandon. Like now you got to look inwards and see what's going on. Oh, I forgot to mention the question of whether elective surgery warrants a meal train. I don't get the question. It's always a good idea to help friends, whatever makes their life easier, whether or not, because I see some people saying, oh, she has an autistic child or she's going, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have all these reasons. If anything you can do to help your friend's life easy. She had surgery. She's having a hard time moving around in this food, and that's one less thing she has to think about. So the answer is yes, it does warrant a meal train. Like, because you're just doing something nice. Like sometimes if your friends are just, oh, you like the way I make my casserole, I'll just make one for you. Even if you're not going through anything. Again, one less thing to worry about. Before I go, shout out to Michelle who looked fantastic at the 007 party. The audacity of Jessie to ask if she was being genuine when she cried when they had their conversation. You do not have a say in her life anymore. Stop asking her questions. Stop asking if she's genuine. And if she wants to wear that ring, yes, you want to put it in a trust for Isabella. Go pay your debts first and don't concern yourself with Michelle's finances. The woman has to deal with you. Like she is dealing with her ex. She's went through a divorce on national TV, went through a breakup with a guy, you left her in debt. She has to watch you in a relationship with someone else, and she has to watch you treat this new girlfriend in a way that you never treated her. She's still grieving her mom. A lot is going on with Michelle. Like, please, Jesse, please handle her with care. Don't come out here and start asking her, oh, did you mean what you say? Or were you being honest? Like, why are you always trying to get her in a gotcha moment? You're in a relationship, you're happy. Please focus on that and leave her alone. Who knew the day would come where I was defending Michelle? But yeah. All right. Final thoughts, final thoughts. I don't know why Kristen is so here for Nia and Danny. Like, what is it? What it's like she came in guns blazing, even when they had like a really, really good conversation already and Nia already apologized and took accountability. But also what's so fascinating is that Lala doesn't go nuclear on Kristen. She's still trying to say, calm down. No, we didn't say anything. The Lala I know would just go guns a blazing. So maybe there's some respect there or something that's going on there. And I think Michelle saying like, I think if people just get triggered at the mention of Janet's name, I don't know. Okay, is Janet is here, right? She's a coworker. You cannot ice her out. You have to work with her. But also, I get the annoyance. Like Janet is doing an act right now. I know that what she said was right about Danny, but think about other situations. Janet is still Janet, and Janet is still that person, she's just Janet is not for me. Let me just put it that way. Like every now and then she tries her best, but her true personality always comes out. And she is somehow in the Amanda school of victimhood. Like she's just, oh, I'm not trying to be, oh, if you don't want me, I'm not gonna be here. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna, and I get it that she's tired of it, but every now and then it just comes out. And that shouting match with Luke, I don't know where to go because she compared him to um the cult leader. And I'm just like Charles Manson. And I'm like, oh God, Janet, you know they're not gonna receive that well. I get what she's trying to say, but maybe she could use another example, but not that. So we'll see. They have to deal with her. So we'll see if they're going to continue with this. Oh, I have to say, when oh God, I just blanked on Jenna's husband's name. When he had the surgery on his knee and he was crying and thinking that his son was gonna forget him. What am I missing, parents? Like, why would his son forget him? Because he's not playing with him. He's still in the house. He's not going to see him. So why is he very concerned about that? Kudos to him for coming to the party, and he climbed those stairs. It looked very painful, but it almost felt like he came and then he left. Jason, I don't know why I went blank, but it almost felt like he came and then he left immediately. But I don't know, maybe contractual for the show. Like, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm still participating in See Me. So maybe. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts on the shows. If you have any questions for me, let me know. If there's a show you want to hear my thoughts on, let me know. It is Tane Talks on all the social media, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. I usually thread my thoughts when I am watching a show on Threads. Please give me a 5-star rating. It helps the podcast, Apple Podcast and Spotify, and stay subscribed so you do not miss out on any new episodes. Until next time.
Five, four, three, two,